recent survey done, many in today's society, the upcoming teenagers, do not know any information on public transportation. Transportation is a key factor to a healthy, rigid economy. It is needed for the people to gain job opportunities, in doing so, being able to support their families. Firstly, the most obvious thing, without the people, there will not be any public transportation system. The person to maneuver the trains, buses, MRTs, LRTs, and taxis. It also gives people the ease of commuting around places, to get to and from work, or to get supplies of food, household things, and etc. It also helps to increase the national output of the country, known as the GDP, gross domestic product, since there is an increase in the total goods and services produced in the country. It increases the prestige of the country. As the prestige of the country increases, foreign companies start to get attracted to the country and base their factories there, in this country where it has a higher prestige. This therefore creating employment rate in the area, and people therefore are able to support their families and able to demand for their needs and wants, such as food, clothes, and others that they want to satisfy themselves. As this takes place, people will reduce on stealing things as well. When people have a job, they are not only working, but in doing so, people make friends. And from a survey done, people who become friends in a work area are likely to be friends for a long time. As you make friends in the work area, people therefore are able to know who you are when you move to another company, and people may recommend you to other companies as well because of the good work you can do for the company. They have expected there is to be improvement in human capitals, such as in people's income and level of education, and also on physical capital such as infrastructure being utilities, transport, and also telecommunication. When transport systems are efficient, there would be economic and social benefits that will result in a positive chain effect, causing there to be improvement in the accessibility to markets and also employment rates. If transport systems are deficient in terms of reliability, they may have reduced the quality of life.
It's a great thing. I mean, public transportation will offset some of the pollution, air pollution, and will also noise pollution. If you get less traffic on the roads, then we have everyone using the public transports. Then obviously, it's amazing to offset some noise, to offset some air pollution. Uh, yeah, we'll also save on energy if you all use.
What I think about public transportation is, I think that transportation is quite useful for us, but not much people using it because in Malaysia, the stations and everywhere they were located is not convenient for workers, students to use.
Public transportations, I think they're very effective in terms of transporting people around every day. It's better for the environment too. Go green, yeah. Public transportation serves a lot of good purposes, such as transporting you and I around the city. It's also good and healthy for the environment. So reducing less cars, motorcycles, and so on.
I think it affects the economy in a good way because if people are encouraged to take public transport, I think our economy might go up because more people would spend their money on public transport, and also it also helps saving like the environment because less vehicles and cars would be on the street. Yeah.
The economy is a tricky question. Economy essentially, well, anything that will bring money out of society's pocket will be positive towards economy. So the more money rotates in the society, the more I buy from you and you buy products from me, the more the economy is going to be impacted in a positive way. So the economy is affected by basically transactions that are happening on every day in a society. Public transportation and economy is a tricky question. Number one, scenario one, is where everyone is using public transportation, and are we necessarily having those transactions happen? No. Why? Well, because how much is the public transportation cost, say from Subang Jaya to KL? That is going to be 2 ringgits. But if everyone was to use the car to go from Subang Jaya to KL, then people are going to offset 10 or 20 ringgits to get themselves from Subang Jaya to KL. So in that way, more money or more transactions are going to happen for every person to get to KL. However, public transportation, by the virtue of getting people to different locations, could actually help with more transactions to happen. So let's say if I was to remain here in Subang Jaya and I'm only limited to Subang Jaya and getting my daily needs from Subang Jaya, then I guess less transactions are happening at bigger scales. But if I'm able to go to KL using public transport, then I guess I'm impacting the society in a greater way. So, public transport could have either of the two effects: positive impact and negative impact.
Economy. My point of view, I think it's bad, because if people start taking the public transport, cars would be reduced, sales would be lesser, so not good for the economy.
Economy of the people, you're down to the scale of people or to the scale of society?
People?
People? Alright. I mean, then again, I guess you're asking the first scenario then. The economy of people. MRT connecting people, public transports connecting people, will essentially help with the more transactions to happen in larger scale across the country, across the city. But in another scenario where people are unconnected, then the local economy is going to benefit more. But in this day of age, I don't think people are limited to their own cities just by virtue of public transport not being there. They'll find a way to get themselves to a different location. If you even think about the public transport in larger scale, I can even name airlines as public transport, where we are taking money out of one country and spending it in another country. That is also affecting the people of that region. So the economy of people will be impacted positively if you have public transports available.
Does it affect the economy? Same as the previous question, I say that it really helps the economy, because if people who use public transport every day, they would tend to spend money on them, and it's kind of like it helps our economy to build up our economy financials. And yeah, people should actually take more public transport, so it would help our country more.
Having MRTs, trains, buses, taxis, this would increase foreigners coming to our country, because therefore the form of traveling would be much easier and more convenient for them, and therefore would increase the country's economy.
From the interview done, it is safe to say that teenagers today lack the knowledge of how important public transportation is. Most teenagers take the train, buses, and MRTs but are not sure how it affects the country's economy. Hence, to make them know how important of a role it does play, there should be advertisements, talks, articles, and flyers. I can conclude that this will increase the knowledge of the young teenagers on the knowledge of public transportation systems. Thank you.